when I turn up, you know I'm on my, yes, I'm on my, yes, I'm on my.
What's good, YouTube? As you guys have seen in some of my previous interviews, we're starting a new series every week where I bring someone that I either do business with or have worked with, or someone really good close friend of mine, and I've known in the industry for a very long time. In this situation, you got Lior from Toronto, Canada. As you guys probably saw in one of the vlogs that I've been here for a week. What I'm going to do is I've actually known Lior since 2015. How long? 2014. Geez, we go way back. 2014, and in the years since I've known Lior, his entire business model has transitioned. Met Lior through the consulting world, where we both kind of got started. He had a very successful agency, SEO agency at one point. He transitioned into software to help agency owners, and as a lot of you guys see, you know, through the teachings, so why do my business and everything else, client acquisition is a huge one. And if you aren't fulfilling on client acquisition, you really don't have a business. So I thought this would be a perfect interview to have Lior on and kind of talk about a few things that he does for the consulting world. So welcome, Lior.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Why don't you tell YouTube a little bit about yourself, kind of your background, what made you get into this fun industry, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I started off with ebooks on Amazon. That's how I got started. And I pretty much dropped out of school, moved out of my parents' house, and quit my job all at the same time.
Yeah.
Just like anyone else, like how to make money online. And then I was working with a friend who taught me how to like sell ebooks on Amazon, and it slowly moved into like how to game that Amazon algorithm in terms of search, which led to Google, which led to, oh, I can go and do this for clients.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it for clients, and I stumbled into client marketing, like agency world, without even realizing that there's full-on agencies that do this stuff for clients. And people were paying me like monthly to help them with their Google rankings, with their Amazon rankings. And a couple of years went by, and I started to notice a lot of my friends in the industry getting into software. So I'm like, I want to do that too. What's the biggest pain point I have? It's getting clients. You know, it takes the most time sitting there, preparing prospecting lists, emailing. And so that's how I got into software.
That's awesome. So you went from Amazon, did done for you work, got into software. Tell us about like a little bit of the consulting world, because a lot of my audience, they come from that. They know me because of running multiple agencies. And you know, it's like, how long did you do client work for? And then I think you had a pretty epic system at one point, if I remember, like ranked like #1 on Upwork or top 10, and you still haven't on Upwork for SEO. So kind of like, yeah, give that, and then we'll transition into the software.
Yeah, so I thought like, where should I get clients? And the #1 like realization I had when I went to Google was that someone who was always advertising, besides for big agencies, was freelance websites. So freelance websites were paying to acquire people that were willing to pay to hire SEOs. So I thought, why don't I just be on the other end of that and be one of those SEOs who gets all that traffic coming in. And so a lot of people think freelance websites are for like cheap, you know, $100, $200 a month sort of gigs. And I just really like honed in proper messaging, getting people on the phone and convincing them, listen, you're not going to get good results on $100, $200 a month, pay me more. And so I would take those free leads, essentially very warm, actually hot leads, because they want your services, and I would sell them to clients. So I did that for about 2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. And then I think that's when we first met, was when you were doing that, but you were traveling to Australia. I think we met for the first time.
Australia?
For the first time in person. We were both from Canada, and we were both in Sydney, Australia at the same time at the end of 2015. I was there to speak, to teach consulting and marketing, and you were like cranking the agency at that point, like kind of just getting into the software. I think you had in development at that point.
Yeah, I'm going through one of many iterations
of life.
No, of software.
Software, yeah.
So like scrap it, hire a new developer. Oh, he ran away. Okay, scrap it.
Yeah.
I actually hired one in Sydney. Handshake agreement, everything. He starts on it and then he just disappears.
Really? Yeah.
Email, nothing. Like, okay.
That's so crazy. So yeah, let's get back into the software. So kind of tell us about, which is ScopeRush as an entire brand, and then it's got the main software, which is Scope Leads. You know, what have you been like since launching? It's what, 2 years since you launched it? Yeah, 2 years. I remember getting it initially when you first launched it, and absolutely like what it is, what it was then to what it is now is like 180. Like there's a lot more features and benefits and stuff that come with the software now. So kind of like tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So that main problem that I had, which was getting clients.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to solve with Scope Leads, right? Every Sunday I was sitting there, going to Google, opening the yellow pages, going to, you know, having an Excel spreadsheet open and just typing in one by one, this business needs help, this business needs help, this business needs help. And then I would have like, you know, a good like 50 to 100 to reach out to, and then throughout the week I would reach out to them. Sweet.
So, you know, obviously you talk about you don't want to get people into the whole world of getting bogged down on features and kind of staying focused with it. So it's like you 2019 going into it, you're obviously going to take and add a bit more to the software and things like that. But now it's going to be awesome to see what comes out of it, because I've literally seen the software go from like 180, like I said earlier. Tell us a little bit about in terms of like some success stories that, you know, people that have come in from 2016 when you launched the software to today to what's going on with it.
Yeah, so we actually started with a group of beta testers. Yeah. And that's the only reason we ended up launching and proving to the world that the stuff works. Yeah. And I remember in those days, it was just like a 2 to 3 month period of just people posting results like left and right, and I was shocked. I didn't like, I knew cold email worked, but I didn't realize like the software with cold email could be so powerful. So it was like every day I was just like screenshotting people getting clients, and it's mainly the time saved is the biggest thing that people will talk about, because they already knew how to get clients with cold email, but now they can send way more emails and don't have to sit there every single day, you know, prospecting, building email lists, and things like that. So there's that. Really big shout out to Iman. He like always, every time we launch a new feature, he's giving us a review, and he got like, I think right when he got the software, he landed a lawyer client within 24 hours. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty big paying monthly client for what he landed in 24 hours. When I remember him talking about it back then. And like, what are some? So it's like, obviously, guys, like this software was built around a need for the consulting space. However, you know, talking to Lior earlier, there are some few other spaces and interesting ways you can use it, because most people look at a software and they just get niched down on like, oh, how can I use it for just making money in the consulting space? But you know, you brought up a very awesome one about a band earlier that you could use. So like, kind of tell us about that guy and the other one too. Yeah.
So different ways people can use it. I mean, like, it's not just for digital marketers. People have found that they can use it for anything that can be searched, like any local business or any online business. And there was one guy I found just through support. He was like a cover artist for some like old school singer. Oh, sorry, was it? I think it was Michael Bublé.
Really?
It was a Michael Bublé cover
so
artist.
Canadian.
And Americans don't know him like
that? I don't
know. He was booking gigs using cold emails. I mean, they got a cold email too.
Yeah.
We got some insurance guys from Sun Life. Down the road.
Yeah.
Yellow Pages. I found out that a guy at Salesforce was using us.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's some account executive, and he was doing like some weird searches too. So yeah, I mean, there's clearly a demand for what's known as like a pre-CRM software, because people have CRM, but how are you going to fill up your CRM with leads? So you need something that fills it up with quality leads.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you know, we've probably been going at this for a little bit here. And what is one thing, like going from Amazon to consulting to software? You know, let's say someone was sitting right in front of you and they kind of said, okay, Lior, teach me from your mistakes what not to do to have the success that you've had in a very short amount of time, and let's say cut it down from 4 years to 2 years. What is something you tell a person?
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier. The main thing is focus. You don't want to focus or try on 2 different businesses at the same time, or 3 different businesses. You know, something that gives you cash flow up front, so cash paid up front. Usually consulting does that. You can do software that does that, but I don't recommend software because then you're putting your cash up front just to get it built.
Yeah.
And so anything, with cash flow up front and that you can focus on. And focus on means within your business too, one channel, one method. So if you're focusing on consulting, you're focusing only sell one thing within consulting, only sell SEO or web design or PPC. And then within that, only focus on one channel of acquisition. Are you going to put all your time into blogging and Instagram, or are you going to put all your time into mastering paid ads for that, or cold calling or cold emailing? So many times I see people like cold emailing at the same time they're trying to like get clients with cold calling, and they don't get results because they're all over the place. So focus like there's no tomorrow, and once you start absolutely like at capacity for that marketing channel, you'll either be able to outsource it, and you can then start exploring other avenues.
So focus, and it's something that I've always talked about. Going into the agency world in 2014 for myself, I've stayed in that world very strongly for coming up for 4 years. Yeah, I've done a few other things, and you've done a few other things, but it's like a lot of people have the ADD of, the Silicon Valley. They want to go into software, they want to try and raise some money. A lot of times people look at the whole Silicon Valley wanting to become the next Uber, Airbnb, and it's great. And if you have a software to go raise the money. A lot of the times when you have investors involved, and I deal with a lot of companies that have investors involved, you're not only answering to yourself or to your team, but you're also answering to people that have invested heavily into you. So the best way to do it is the way Lior's built Scope Leads, the software that you guys have seen me talk about a few times here. Have something that pays for your lifestyle, so puts a roof over your head, puts food in your stomach, and then you can take that and go into software. Because software is an amazing game once you have it figured out, but kind of doing it to a point where a lot of the times I've seen it, I'm sure you've seen it too, where people get into the software world, have like, let's say $20,000 in the bank account, but don't realize what the run rate to get that software off the ground is going to be. That $20,000 are just being burned developers a lot of the times. And I'm sure you've seen it throughout the days of that. Like, one of the things, maybe kind of tell us before we leave this interview here is, what has been some of like the hardest learning lessons for not being focused, for maybe, doing the wrong things in terms of like how to figure out like hiring the right people or whatever, kind of some of your hardest lessons, and then tell people where to find you.
Yeah, I think even now I still suffer from some focus issues, like trying new businesses, or anything I do in the future now will just be like from an investment standpoint, like someone would have to be a CEO and just invest. But even focusing on planning like your week is something that I've only recently started doing. And even with software, you can get away with like some pretty like good monthly recurring revenues. At the end of the day, you can make way more money just consulting or selling information, or doing what some guys are doing now. It's like selling a course with the software. So like software is only one part of what you do. So those are all things you have to sort of like test and keep testing. But at the end of the day, focus on one thing.
Sweet. So stay focused. Don't get distracted. Lior, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm sure he'll link it up.
Yeah.
And I blog over at scoperush.com, and scopeleads.io is the software we've been talking about.
Sweet. So Scope Leads, go get yourself an account. Use it as soon as you get it, guys, because I'm telling you, I use it in my company. Clearly, as you stated earlier, over 7,000 people have trusted this the software. It works. It's going to work for you. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. See you later.
Bye.